Hi, this is Suzanne Rain, and I'm one of the trainers for New Home Source Professional. And I want to thank you for joining our More Sales, Less Effort Guaranteed webinar with David Fletcher. Before I introduce David and get started, I want to let you know that you are welcome to ask questions throughout this webinar. You can use the Zoom Q&A feature if you'd like to ask questions. The chat feature, you can use that to just chat amongst yourself. David will be sort of asking some hypothetical questions of everyone. And if you want to, in the Q&A, go in and give your answers to it, then we can pass that on to David as he's talking. So he'll ask, what would you do if, or something like that. And if you feel like you want to chime in, go ahead, and then I'll be passing on your comments to David there. So again, please use the Zoom Q&A feature to ask your questions or give any comments that is in relation to David requesting that. If you just want to say something to each other, please use that the chat feature at the bottom there. So this again is our More Sales, Less Stress Guaranteed, or less effort, More Sales, Less Effort Guaranteed, or something. Maybe messing up the title there. And David Fletcher is our host today. And if you haven't joined one of our webinars with David or had any experience with David, he is a wonderful resource for agents that are looking to get more involved with new home sales. He's one of the most experienced new home realtors in residential real estate. His career expands over 40 years in new home builders, working with condominium developers, just like 70 different communities, mostly in Florida. He's recruited, trained, and supervised on-site sales teams that have sold over $3 billion. And he's a lifetime achiever. He also established the New Home Co-Broker Academy, where you can take courses and earn designations that will improve your knowledge of new home sales and will make you more valuable to buyers that are looking to work with new construction or builders like that. So David, why don't you take it away?
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. Everybody hear me okay? Okay, what we're going to do is, like Suzanne said here, I'm going to be showing you some real live examples of things you'll run into in the field and already have, and probably could use a little help with at times. We're going to be talking about real deals here, case studies, and I'd like to get your ideas on it before I give you the solution to some of these, just to see how we're doing. Okay, so feel free to chat and or send us your answers to my questions as we go. All right, so just a quick reminder here. Let me see. Let me just check here. Okay, we're good. Here's the title. Straight out, more sales, less stress. That's the aim. And the reason I call that an aim is that instead of a goal, is an aim is something we strive for, right? We want, for example, we want to be the best realtor in town. We don't know when we get to that point exactly. We don't know exactly. We know what more sales mean. Less stress, we get that, but it's not consistent, is it? So it's sort of an aim. We're going to talk about a goal, but that's our aim for this. When you leave here today, you're going to see exactly how you can do that, by the way. Here's what we want, right? We need a solution to a real serious problem. I've been through 5 recessions in my lifetime. I've never seen anything like this one that is so buyer driven and so short of resale inventory. But this is the solution that we want right here. And and it is a very serious issue because, and I'm going to show you some quotes and so forth. It's going to last a good while, evidently. This is not short range. It could last through the decade, I've heard that. I don't know what your market might be. I hope it's a good one. But what reason I want to spend a second on this is this means that you've got to really be thinking about where you're going and what you want to do. You can't stay the same anymore. You've learned all you need to learn, perhaps, about resales. You're good at it, and you need to keep staying at that. There is no way am I suggesting you get out of the resale business. You need to stay in the resale business, but you need to build on what you've got right now, and you do that by Number one, you need saleable inventory. Hello, new homes, right? I don't know any other answer to that. I really don't. But let's go a little deeper into what we're doing here. I want to ask you to do something today. I want you to open your mind, like maybe you've never been in real estate or you just got your license and there's a new market out there and you're trying to figure out how to think even about what to do next. Typically, let's say that I'm your sales manager. I call you in. I say, look, on the last quarter, um, how do you think you did? How did in the last quarter? Um, oh, let's say the last. Yeah, let's leave it at 30 days. Let's say 30 days. Okay. How many real prospects did you have? And you say, I had 3. And how many sales did you have? You say, well, I had 1. So you had what's called in the new home business a prospect to sales ratio of 3 to 1. You maybe a lot of you never heard of that term, but they live by it on the on-site side. They get evaluated by how many sales they make out of how many prospects they've had. It's very serious business to them. But basically, you're prospect driven, right? Because, for example, if I said, look, you know, you're doing a pretty good job here, but if you wanted to double sales in the next month or so, what would you do? Do you think you could do that? Yeah, I think I could maybe get another sale or 2, maybe double that. So let's say you double that. How would you tell me you're going to do it? Most of you would tell me that you're going to double for you to get double your sales. You're going to have to do what? You're going to have to, if I can hit this. Sorry about this. I don't know what's going on there, but there it is. You're going to have to double your prospects. So what does that do? That does not improve your prospect to sales ratio. And all that really does is keep you about the same. And it's the same thing. You're showing resales, you're in the same game, right? What I want to propose here is that you become sales driven. And instead of telling me that you're going to double your sales by doubling your prospects, tell me you're going to double your sales by improving your prospect to sales ratio. You're going to focus more on selling than prospecting. You've got prospects right now. You know this, right? You don't know what happened to them. You've had some you should have closed, didn't close. You know that. A lot of you, understand what I'm saying here. If you've been in the business a while, right? But let's focus on being sales driven for a minute. I'm going to show you what I mean by this, because this is this is the start of having less stress in your real estate life. Now, here's my first case study. I'll show you something here. This was my very first customer, my very first graduate 6 years ago. This actually happened to him, and he solved this problem by taking my course and was so excited about it. He drove down from Atlanta and took me to dinner. That actually happened. Here's what happened. He had 8, these people he was with had 8 homes. They were trying to make their decision among these 8 resales. And then he remembered something and he did it. And he came back. What he did was show them a new home. Now, what do you think they bought? By showing them the new home, which he realized he should have done first, but didn't, but by showing them the new home, they had a better idea of what they could get for their money. They better understood the money, and they knew then they felt they were more comfortable making an offer, and they bought a resale. You see? So that's one way we grow here is we make more sales with fewer prospects. That's how you do it. Now, so it doesn't mean you run out and start selling new homes. You thought I was probably going to say that. No, I'm saying stay in the resale business. It's important. So here are 3 objectives for today. Every course, we got to have 3 objectives, right? We're talking about selling more resales and new homes, both. We're going to talk about make more sales to fewer prospects. We're starting to discuss that. And we're going to talk about the importance of showing saleable inventory every time. And Suzanne will be back after a few after we're into this a little bit, and she'll be joining us again to present that section, but it's very, very important. Thought you might be interested in this comment. You've heard it that new homes are more expensive. You know that, right? If you're in the experience, I'm not telling you anything new out there to a lot of you. I understand that I'm not. But look at this. This was a couple of months ago. I don't know what the spread is today, but it's close. Just wanted to give you a quick example of what happens when our graduates get out into Facebook and LinkedIn and so forth. This is what you'll see. You've probably seen this, some of you, maybe some of you here now, or some of our graduates. But that NAC stands for Certified New Home Co-Broker, and we help them explain that and what that means and the benefits of working with them, with a certified home broker as we get through the course. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, here are the 5 don'ts in working with new homes. This is what we call stress relief. You don't write the contract. You don't answer construction questions. Now, whoa, some of you said, wait a minute. Yes, we do. I feel I need that. I owe that to my prospect. I don't agree with you on that. Now, we can discuss it if you want, but I've never taught that. In all the years that I had recruited and trained on-site salespeople as realtors, and I was a realtor doing this, I had listed the communities, and I was a broker of record for over 50 of these communities through the years. In my policy manual, which I wrote myself, one of the first things I put in there was if I caught them discussing construction, they were terminated immediately. And the reason I did that is because I always felt that due to the price of these homes, and the decision is so important, they needed to get the accurate answer from the superintendent or the builder. They needed to hear from the person who's doing the work. And it left, it kind of relieved us of any liability or misunderstandings, because in our business, right, it's not important you understand. What's important is we don't misunderstand, right? We spend half our life sometimes. Well, it's my understanding so-and-so. Well, you had the wrong understanding, right? And we've both done this. Okay, you don't manage the transaction. That's a big one. You don't negotiate base sales price. Well, maybe we do, maybe we don't. Not today so much. Base sales price, right? And you don't actually do the selling. In most of these communities, you make the introduction and then you join the tour. You don't present. And matter of fact, we go through a whole section on from A to Z exactly how that works. But all of these things you do for resales, right? And it drives you, I mean, your work doesn't really start until you get a contract. And then you're giving, meeting people at the house, getting keys, doing this, calling this person. It's hard work, the resale side. It really is. This is good relief when you do it. A lot of you know this that are out there today. I want to show you something. This is a chart that came out about 5 years ago. I have not seen a new one or an update to this, so I would show it to you. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. In fact, I think it came out maybe 6 years ago, because I'd been told for years I should write a course, do this, do that. I had the case studies, had the experience, but I did not have the demographics that I felt I needed to give my course the real credentials it needed. But when this came out, I immediately jumped on it and we did a course. Okay, here's what we saw. This says, and this may be still true, and even if it's just 42 to 48%, whatever, it doesn't change that much, doesn't matter. But what this chart says was that about 45% of the people coming to your market are going to buy a resale. They want a resale. They want one. They don't care. They do not want to look at new. They want a specific location, maybe near a school in an old neighborhood, but they're willing to do the work it takes and all that, but they want existing. And that was 5 years ago. 18%, let's call it 20, just to round it off, 1 out of 5 came to your area, or coming to your area right now. This might be higher at this point. They want a new home, will not look at this existing homes. They want new. Well, what is this 38% then? Undecided. I'd never heard that term till I saw this. there's no telling what this number is today, right? They're coming in for a resale, but they look at new, or they're coming in new, they look at resale. Right now, you know, and you read the same things I do, right? These people that selling a lot of their homes today are shot. They're selling their home because they want to go into a new home in their area because of the buy down rate, as much as anything that these builders have in effect right now. So that's kind of the market. I want to set some of that up for you. You can react to that any way you want. What it says to me, if you're not advertising and marketing to new homes, prospects, 1 out of 5 prospects coming to your market, you don't meet, not gonna meet. And when you think about your competition for existing resales, let's take a guess. What did you call what do you think your competition is for resale, a listing in your market? Or even finding a buyer, a resale buyer? Well, let me give you a start. How many members are members of your local association? All right, divide that in half, then divide that in half, whatever you want to do. But it is tremendous. Not so in new homes. If every agent in your company got together for a meeting, 300, 500, 30, whatever that number is, and your broker asks, how many of you are participating right now actively trying to find new home buyers? You wouldn't see 5% of the hands go up. Test me on that. See what happens. So 50, even back then, even 50, they're undecided plus new were potential new home shoppers. So they're out there. Now, okay, here we go. I want to test your, I have a reason for this. I want to test your selling skills. This is an actual case that I was involved in. There was a single lady from Puerto Rico who came in to buy a small condo. Loved it. Waterfront, loved it. But she told the agent she could not buy it because the kitchen was too small. Now, send me some answers on this. What would you say to somebody who came to you and said, I'm not buying this because the kitchen is too small? Somebody, y'all pop us a few answers here. I see we got 22 chats going on and questions coming in, but right now, give us a little bit of that. Anybody, and Suzanne, let us know if we get some answers on this. This is a skills test as opposed to a strategic, strategic, can I say the word? A strategy session, which is what we're going to be talking about mostly, but I wanted to give you an example of this.
So we've had a few agents.
What are some answers they're giving us?
One of them said, ask them what size do you want and why. Another one, similar, said, is it bigger than your current kitchen? One said, suggest let's see a new home community. Somebody else suggested you could break down a wall and make it your own.
Good. Okay. That's enough. I think that gives us a general idea. Unless you got a couple of, if you got anything else you want to throw at us. But generally speaking, we got 4 answers here. Now, here is where we get to prospecting. Here's where we get to selling, I should say. We want to sell 2 out of 3, right? Not 2 out of 6. We've got a buyer here that wants this unit. The only reason they're not buying is the kitchen's too small. Now, you heard those answers. Let me tell you the correct answer, and there's some experienced people here that know the answer to this. And if you're out there, let's hear it. But you've heard that expression, right? I mean, everybody that trains anything about overcoming objections, what's the first thing they teach us, right? Is ask to play it back to them in terms of a question. So here's what happened. This is the way I train the agents, and it's so simple. None of this is genius, obviously. So we said back to her, I happened to be with the agent. I was training the agent with this prospect, but the prospect knew what to say. She said, the kitchen is too small. You see, it's a question. What do you think this lady said? Here's what she said. And this is why You're not going to make sales if you're not constantly talking in terms of their interest. When we get answers that just imply we're trying to get a commission and it's not in their interest, we're going to lose some trust here, folks. Okay, so we said, is the kitchen's too small? And she said this, yes. My parents, for years, I'm from Puerto Rico, when we have a plastic rooster we keep in our kitchen for good luck, I don't see any place to hang that rooster. What would be the next thing you would do? What would be the next thing you would say? So if I'm understanding this, that if we find you love this unit, you fall in love with this, you love the waterfront, you like the price, you're telling me here that if I can find a place to, if you could find a place, if you had a place to hang that rooster, you would buy this home? Yes, I would. Now, what is the next thing I'm going to do? Talk about. I'm not going to talk about the kitchen at all. I'm going to talk about a place, help her find a place to hang that rooster. And we did. Wasn't in the kitchen, but she could see it from the kitchen to her straight out left. We found a place out there. This is not an actual picture of her, of course. And she bought the unit. You see, that's what I mean, folks. We've got to, and this is not selling really. It's just solving a problem for her. Nothing smart, all that smart about this, is it? So I just want to pass that along. That is a skill. But when you get into new homes, it's even easier. There, you don't need any skills. And I'm going to prove that to you. Stay with me here. Okay. Ready? Just remember this one, by the way. Play the objection back as a question. Okay, I got another question for you. Which of these is the best buy, do you think? Have a resale on the right and a new home on the left. Got base price, and we have an asking price. What do you think? Let's have some answers on it. Anybody have any thoughts on this? Not going to embarrass anybody. Just give us some of your thoughts on it. It really helps us when we get these. It helps all of us. So, if you get anything, Suzanne, let me know. But I'll go ahead and just interrupt me if you get something we need to talk about. All right. Okay. So we're looking at these two. These on the right, we have a realtor and their prospects, and one man's scratching his head, and another one's staring up at the chimney, and so forth. And over here we got this brand new house, both of them about the same price, right? We got the new one over here. It's got a buy down mortgage, let's say, warranty. Over here on the right, we have a price. We don't really know what the price is going to be. Might have to bid it up. We don't know, right, at this point. Or they may know. Let's assume for a moment they do know whether they have to going to be bidding it or not. Either way, they're still interested. And but what are they concerned about here? Do you think they might be concerned about the renovation or those kind of costs? You know, what the real cost is going to be once they buy it, right? So what does that mean? Which one of these do you think is better? All right.
Well, a lot of the comments have been more of it depends on what the buyer needs. Somebody pointed out that new home warranties would make the new home a little more, I think from what they're saying, a little more attractive, because if you have the new home warranty, then maybe the other home shouldn't be priced the same or something.
Okay. These are good answers. Let me tell you though, here's the way you handle this. This new home, let's start on the right with these people. They're not going to buy a new home. They've said that 100 times. They're not interested in a new home. They don't, you don't agree with their answer, why they don't want one or whatever. But here's what you want to do. And listen, write this down. This is really important. Now this is where I'm asking you to be open-minded here. If at all possible, you need to show the new home first in your showing schedule. Not that they're going to buy it. They have told you they're not going to buy a new home. But here's why you need to show it. And this is the benefit of the fixed price of a new home. We have a tendency as realtors, we're trying to negotiate, so they have fixed price, and what we can't help it. No, here's how it works. They're going to buy this resale. That's what they said. Not that one, but they want a resale. So you're showing them a new home first, only because there's nothing more important to you than them understanding the money. And the only way to help them clearly understand the money is to see what they can touch and feel for the price they want to pay. They want to spend about $400,000 on a house. You're going to show them how they can live for that $400,000. You know they're not going to buy it, not going to try to sell it to them, but you want them to understand the market. And this is how they could live. Could be further out, whatever, if they just wanted to spend $400,000 and the house is showing without the incentives, right? It's the $400,000 base price. Now, on the right, once they see that new home, they've heard the location benefit of that new home, which might help you. That resale might be in that general area, which would help you, especially if you haven't been in that area in a while, right? So it'd be good for you to hear a good location story from an on-site agent. But anyway, so when they leave, they've seen it. They're going to love it. There's no question. They're going to thank you for this, right? Because now they know how they can live for $400,000. So when they go look at that resale, what do you think they're thinking? What do you think they're comparing it to? You see, this is what I'm talking about. So what happens is they start getting a better feel. They do. You're not selling them anything. They have seen, touched, and felt what they can buy for that $400,000. So now they have a better way of judging what they should offer on the resale. And and you're right, it does. For those of you who said it depends, it absolutely does depend, for sure. But this is why the new home is so important. Now, what happens is, they get down, you know how that works. The closer they get to the deal, they start trading off things they insisted on having, but now they'll give this for that, right? A lot of them will decide, you know what, we don't want to renovate. That's going to be too much trouble. We'll go back and get the new home. But you've already showed them a new home and what they can get for the money. It's not like you're going to start looking. They already know. They'll go back to that same house, or they'll go to another new home, but they've already got that in their head. So you've given them a college education in what they can get in the market, and they have established that themselves, not you. This goes way beyond MLS, and MLS is important, but you can't beat what I'm talking about right here, right? Personal inspection. All right. So I just want to make a point. We think this is so important, and our agents, when they graduate, we spend a whole section on this in our course. And it's really, really important. What I'm challenging you to do is try this as a way of changing your showing schedule. Because if you don't show new and they want to see more home, the two wonderful calls you get, right? One is we decided to wait, and the other one is we want to see some more homes. We've only seen 150 so far, and we need to see another 100, right? It seems like no end to it. This puts an end to that kind of call, especially the one that's showing us no more homes. So I just want to make that point. It's very important. Okay, let's look at this one. This is interesting. An agent came up to me, one of our graduates, and a non-graduate, I should say, and came up to me and said, I am about to quit the business. My people, I've shopped 8 weeks. They've insisted on a resale with a pool. I'm going to quit, because you know what they did after 8 weeks? They called me Monday, told me what a nice person I was, great friend, all these wonderful things. But they did not want to look at new homes, did not want to look at new homes because they would be too expensive with a pool. So they decided over one weekend just to go out and get some ideas. You know how that works, right? Some of you've heard this story about you've had this happen to you, right? Here's what happened. They met a very smart on-site agent who hears this every day. We would buy a new home, but we can't buy we want to, we're insisting on a pool, so we're going to buy a resale. You think they haven't heard this every day? Just about. You don't think they practice training on how to overcome these objections? They know exactly what to say every time you say it. Your prospect says this. So what should have happened is what I just showed you. Had that agent taken them out to a new home first, just to get an idea of what they can buy for their money with or without a pool. Just wanted you to know. That's the only way I know to help you do it. So you're helping them here with this. Understand the market. You're also getting these objections out of the way by anything like this happening. What happened when they went out? This agent showed them a floor plan first that they fell in love with on the computer. Fell in love. Happened to be the model. Took them out to the model, fell in love with the model. Or I should say a home that was going to be finished in 30 or 60 days. So what happened is when they said they can't buy the house because they got to have a pool, this is what she suggested. She said, look, why don't we do this? Why don't you buy the home without the pool since you love it so much? Live in it for 6 months, a year, get used to it, and that would help you decide maybe make a better decision on the type of pool you need for your backyard or would want, and then you put the pool in. They jumped all over that and purchased it that weekend. Fell in love with it. Apologized, of course, to the agent. Lost $14,300 on that commission. So that didn't happen a lot anymore, actually, because if they're working with the co-brokers, they kind of try to protect them as best they can, and there's some ways to do that. Okay, here's one. She 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 wasn't gonna quit. She wanted she got into new homes and took the course and all this stuff because she wanted to travel, but she liked the idea the builders did all the work after wrote the contract, did all the work afterwards, transaction management. But anyway, she's with this couple. She calls me one day and she says, David, I'm about to go crazy. What should I do? She said, I spent 10 weeks with these people. I've showed them 5 resales and they're getting renovation bids on every one of them. And she said, all of them have come in too high and they're about to quit. And tell you the truth, I don't care if they do. I'm fed up myself. And she said, what do you think I should do? And I didn't say, I just sat there for a second, didn't say it on purpose. I didn't say anything. And she said, oh my goodness. She said, I realize now what I should do. I should have showed them a new home, shouldn't I? I said, yes, of course you should have. And why should she? Here's the why. Here's the why. This is very important because you're going to get into this a lot. But this is why you want to go to a new home. Okay, I was just seeing we got how much time we had left. Okay, we got so what happens is they're going to renovate. You show them a home, let's say for 400,000, it's going to cost them 100 to renovate, let's say. So they got a $500,000 budget they don't want to go over. You see, then this is another reason to take a look. Before we get started with all this renovation, Mr. and Ms. Jones, I want to do this just so we can see. Let's go out and look at a home with a base price of around 500,000, and just to see how you could live for that money. She didn't do that. But here's what happened. She was leaving to go on a vacation in the Philippines in like 3 days. She said, David, I don't know what to do. I said, call a couple of, she said, I've never sold any new homes. She never sold new homes. This was going to be her first round. And I said, look in the zip codes they want. Find a couple of builders in that zip code. Tell them you're going on vacation, and would they protect your commission if you got them out there on a couple of appointments without you? And she called 2 builders. They both agreed to do it, and they will agree to do it if they're cooperating with brokers. These on-site agents want that broker deal. It doesn't matter to them, broker or not, as far as their sales, their prospect to sales ratio. They have their own budgets for this, very critical. So they want that sale. So she made the appointment, took her, and they went out and looked at the two, had kept their appointments, and went out and they ended up buying one while she was in the Philippines. She stayed in touch, through email or whatever, and they closed it before she got back. And she said at the closing, they could not quit talking about how much they appreciated her and how professional she was, and she never even met the builders. I'm just telling you, this is how you go from 2 to 3. You see, this is how you do it. In this case, they ended up buying. They decided, why do we want to renovate when we can live like this? You see, they don't know. They think they know, but they don't. There you go, right there. See, that's what happened. That's what you want to happen. So when you get somebody that says, I want to buy a home and renovate, okay, well, how much do you want to put in the total package for the home and the renovation? We don't want to go whatever the price that is. That's the price then you want to show a new home just to get started. Here's a little thing that came out not too long ago about it. When you start, what I like about this chart is when you open yourself to new homes, you say, well, I don't want to do this, wait on my commission and the pre-construction and blah, blah, blah. Once you get that pipeline running, you'd be surprised how nice it is to know you've got some nice closings coming up 6 months, 8 months from now, whatever, right? Deals you would have missed. So it's better to have it later than never, right? But anyway, so here's what they said basically that they were buying. 44% right out of the ground to be built. 33 wanted fully complete and 23 partially complete. Why is that important? And why is this chart important to you? Whoop, let me look this up. No. This is on point of what I just showed you. Let's say you're going to run into this. I think this is going to start, you're going to start seeing a lot of this. The people who finally can't afford a house are going to get so tired of paying these high rents. I think they're going to be, they'll get there. Some people are going to find that they have 2 jobs or parents left them money or the business took off. They can afford to not rent. They're going to like maybe buying a home. Let's see what happens here. What would you do? Let's have some answers on this one. They've come in, they've got 4 months to go on their lease, and they've come in to you to shop resales. What would you do here? Let's have some answers on this and get some good discussion going on this. This is interesting. How would you handle this? And by the way, some of you, when you give us a good answer, it helps everybody. So sometimes this is the best part of these webinars, right? When you hear each other and what you're doing to solve the problem. So there's a $16,000 commission riding on what you do here. What would you suggest here?
We had somebody say to show the new construction builder homes first.
Okay, that's good. That's a start.
And point out that they have new homes that could be ready in 4 months.
Perfect. Somebody, congratulations. That's the perfect answer. You've got to be thinking in this case, right? You're thinking, or it could be 5 months, could be 6 months, could be anything like that, right? You were thinking partially complete is what you start thinking. Because now this is what happens. Why? There could be a cancellation. It could be partially complete. It's going to be completed in 3 or 4 months, and it's scheduled to be for sale, and nobody's bought it yet, right?
Somebody else also said, make sure you mention that those homes are more built to order. You can go and still possibly.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for that. Better, you have more flexibility in the design of the interior of the house. That's what she's saying. You've got more control over how you're going to live. Right. Absolutely, with a new home, and that's huge. Obviously, thank you for that. Okay, so what happened? Would any of you think, well, gee, I don't know, can they get financing approved in the 4 months that far in advance? Well, maybe with a lockdown, I don't know what goes on in your market, but there are a lot of reasons you want to welcome them to you. But they're not going to be they can't buy resale now because they got 4 months to go. A builder might, depending on his situation or her situation, might pick up the lease. So they've only got 3 months left. And adjust that somehow with the incentive package or whatever. You know, they have all kind of ways of helping you get in. And then you, of course, want to talk about, well, their lease runs out in December 30th. What if your house is not finished? Well, you talk about that a little bit, you know, get all of those things answered. This is what you do. You kind of specialize in people who got homes that they're coming out of their rentals. By the way, that's not a bad farm, is it? When you think about it, that this is what you do. And you work a little deal with the builders, get 2 or 3 builders lined up on how they do this and how they would work with your folks that you bring to them. You may have yourself a nice little niche market right there. We don't think like, see, we're learning how to think. This is not about skills. This is my point to you. We're just learning how to think and address the market out there that we're in right now and going to be in for a good while. And many of you probably thinking you've never done it. That's fine. Good for you. You haven't learned anything wrong. And I might say, if you take our course, if I might get an advertorial in here, you'll learn how to do it right for sure. But anyway, so there you go. Thank you for those comments. I love that when we get these kind of comments. And if you have any questions about anything we're doing, you know, we want to hopefully get through in time to discuss some of this. This is what they ended up doing. So, you know, this is what they're doing, and they're broker 4 months from now, whatever, let's say, it's going to pick up a nice commission for about $16,000. How would you like to have a $16,000 commission booked, although you can't get your hands on it yet? Imagine maybe they'll give you a little relief, help you do a little bit of planning. How'd you like to have about 3 or 4 of those booked down the road? Okay. Here's this Mary is one of our graduates at ACB, as you see, with Berkshire Hathaway. She had never sold a new home. Took the course. She'd never, 8 years she'd been in business. And this is what happened to her at the first year. She today is considered one of the top 10 realtors in Central Florida by publication that puts these things out. But I wanted to show you this slide because when you look at this slide, how many types of houses do you possibly could sell here? Of course, you see the pre-construction. In the lower half here, you might see some that are about completed. You see some empty lots for those who want to start with a pre-sale. Now, if they're local, if your people are local who want to buy one of these start with a new home, you got a good shot at the listing here, right? Yes, you do. And that's where she got her 2. She got 2 from the buyers, see? This is how things work if you know what to do. This is not about skills, it's about experience. It's about doing things like this, really helping. You're helping yourself, you're helping your family, you're helping the prospects, the builders, everybody, because you know what to do, you know. And so you're not acting like you know, like a lot of us do sometimes, right? We don't want to be embarrassed. We want them to think the best of us. They can see through that every time, right? So just wanted to share that with you because I think it's so important. Now, Suzanne, let's talk about probably the most important thing of all, and that's being able to find the right inventory fast. So I'm going to turn this over to you, and you let me know when I need to move to the next slide.
Great. Thanks, David.
Okay.
So if you're interested in working new construction, showing this to your clients, being knowledgeable about what's available in your area, New Home Source Professional is a really valuable tool for you to use. It is completely free for you to use. Right now, you can access New Home Source Professional either through our website, which I did share in the chat earlier. It's www.newhomesourceprofessional.com. We also do partner with MLSs and brokers across the nation, so you're welcome to go into the Q&A and ask me and Angela, or Angela and I, if we happen to partner with your MLS. But it's a fabulous tool because it allows you to search new construction in your market and share that with your buyers. We obtain our information from builders directly. It makes it a little more valuable than if you happen to have new construction in your MLS for a couple of reasons. One is builders traditionally put only their completed homes in the MLS. Can't tell you exactly, maybe David can, why they do that. Sometimes I think it's just because the MLS doesn't let you put a plan in there that could be 4 or could be 5 bedrooms, that you have to put exactly what it is. But they'll just put those newly completed homes. So if your client's looking for a plan, you may not think of the MLS. Within New Home Source Professional, you'll be able to see the plans that are available for your buyer to choose from. Any homes that are already under construction, any homes that are completed. So you have a lot more information. There's more space, just to put it simply. In the MLS, you're always limited on your character count as to what you can put in there. And so in New Home Source Professional, you can find more information that the builders have shared with us than in your MLS. It's very simple to sign up, and it's free. This just shows you our main screen here, where you can see you can run a search. You can save listings for your clients, email listings to your client. You can save searches for your clients. So you can see at the top on the right hand side there, it's a way for you to go back and find everything that you've saved. There's a section for you to keep track of everything going on with your clients. David, do you want to move on? This gives you a little taste of what the information, you can see what does it look like. So on the far left side there, when you run a search, you're just going to see initially like a line item list of all the results of your search. Or you could see this in the view of like photos. And if you click on either the list view or the photo view, one property on the right there, you can see that you can see up to, I don't remember how many photos it is, but I see everything from 18 to 40 photos that you could view. Sometimes the builders will give you more media, they call it, like you could check out one of their interactive floor plans, their interactive videos. It will show you when's the last date this information was updated, a price or a price range if it's a community. Then on the right, you'll be able to see any information the builder shares with us about commission. And sometimes the builders like you to reach out to them because they change that every so often. They change their policies every so often. You'll be given any contact information that the builders provided to New Home Source Professional. And just to point out, with New Home Source Professional, you'll be able to, again, share this information with your client. They don't see the same information you do. For example, when you share this listing with your client, they don't see that KB phone number and a way to message the builder. Because with your New Home Source Professional account as an agent, you can not only research yourself and share with your client, you can create what we call a showingnew.com site. So it is your site, in your landing page or microsite for your clients to be able to view. David, do you want to move on to that screen? And so it's really nice because that is basically allowing you to either share just the URL with your client. David, your slides have gone to like your comment section. They're not moving to the next one over.
Oh.
Little technical difficulties. That's okay.
There we go.
Okay, so this is an example of my showing new. That's okay. My showingnew.com site. So the showingnew.com site, every agent, when you create your free New Home Source Professional account, is assigned a showingnew.com account. The default URL will be showingnew.com/ your first name, last name. But we do show you, we hold webinars just like this one once a week. And some of our webinars go over the basics of how do you create a New Home Source Professional account? How do you share listings with your buyers? How do you run searches? How do you customize this showingnew.com site? So if you have questions and it's hard to figure out on your own, maybe you just don't have the time to sit down and research it, we do have webinars. I'll show you how to get to it in a little bit, where we go over how do you add your own photo up there? How do you add your broker's logo? How do you add a custom background to that screen there? You can limited go in and change the URL if you want to. So what's great about this site is you could just take the URL and share it on social media to promote yourself as an agent that helps buyers with new construction. You can go in there and share the URL with all of your clients, especially new buyers. Angela and I are both agents in the Austin, Texas area, if we didn't mention that earlier. And if I have a new buyer, I automatically share this URL with them just to let them know that I can help them with builders. So it's a great way for you to promote yourself with your clients or other leads out there, because you can take this and create a post on social media. David, I think this is my last slide, right?
I think it is.
Okay. So,
well, then we have that one.
No, that's old. I think you went backwards there.
Okay, there we go.
So one other thing I'll point out about New Home Source Professional is you can also take the listings that are on New Home Source Professional, and there's a shareable link. So you can either take your URL for the showingnew.com site, create a post in social media, or you can take a link from New Home Source Professional, create a post in any social media site, and that directs those buyers back to your showingnew.com site. So on the New Home Source Professional, if you go out to www.newhomesourceprofessional.com and you click on the resources tab, you'd see a webinars link, and it would let you view all our future webinars and sign up for them. David, you have anything to add?
No, I just think, thanks, Suzanne. What I'm hoping they do is do what you've asked them to do, because they need those weekly training that you give to really get into this. And to me, if there's an old saying, guys, out there in the business, that he who controls the listings, controls the inventory, controls the market, right? Right. You're not going to control all the market, but if you get into something like this, you'll get so much confidence about accessing new homes and how to follow up and know you're protected and work with builders. This is a process that's very important.
And so we had a question earlier in the webinar, but I wanted to bring it up partly when I talked about this, and so you could address it. An agent wanted to know the best marketing approach to get more prospects. And this is a great way to get more prospects, because if you're constantly marketing yourself on social media, either with your showing new link or that shareable link, then your network gets to know you as an agent that can help with new construction. And these links, the posts that you create on social media, they're accessible by anyone. So anyone else could see that, and that would be a great way for you to get more prospects. But David may have another tip on how to get your best marketing approach to get more prospects there.
Oh, I get paid thousands of dollars an hour to share this secret, so I can't give it to anybody. But however, I'm going to give one, and that is this: it has nothing to do with it. Here's what it has to do with: 50% of your business, if you've been in the business 2 years or more, will come from and should come from referrals, right? So what I would suggest you do, one of the things I would suggest you do, is start asking anybody that comes to you for a resale, if in the price frame of the new homes in your market, ask them if they've considered new homes. Would they consider a new home? And most of them are going to, I don't know what they'll say, but they're not going to look, if you don't know it, they're not going to buy a new home through you if they don't know that you're involved in new homes at all, right? So be sure to ask. I really don't have any other tip than that at the moment. I want to get through this right now, Suzanne. I need to get back to my side.
Yeah, that's understandable. If you have any questions, you're welcome to.
Yeah, we can talk some more. I want to hopefully get some questions in if we can.
Right.
We got a few minutes left, I think.
If you have questions, you can go out to the New Home Source Professional site, go down to Contact Us, and submit questions. And whether they're for New Home Source Professional or David, we'll get them over to David. So if we don't get your question before this is over.
They've got 95 people chatting, 95 chats. My goodness. Okay, we've got several questions too. So Leah, let's see if we can get to those. But I've got a couple more things we got to talk about here, Suzanne. So, can we go? Okay.
Yes, it's your turn. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you. All right, I just want to show this. I just want to back up what I said earlier. This is what they're predicting through the decade we're talking about. The market we're talking about right now could be with us through the decade. Might want to read this. If you've seen this out in Atlanta now, it might be more than 75%. but they're buying down the mortgage. And here's why this is important that you know this. If they're buying down a new home mortgage rates, how are resellers, how are your listing people going to compete with this? And I can tell you from experience, these builders are not going out of business. If this interest rate, I've been there. I was a broker of record, had my own agency, had 21 agents, interest rates at 20%. So I know how this works. They were buying down the rate 8% back then. 8. So they're going to stay in business. They're going to do what they've got to do to stay in business and keep their crews working. Now, is that some prediction of the future? In a sense, I think it is. Not that it's going to be that rate. No, I don't know about all that. I don't think it is. But the buyer demand is so heavy. One of the things that slows it down is these builders are looking for a property to build on. So there's a lot of that, and that's a problem to them. So that's getting scarce. A lot going on out there, but that's why you need, I think, to become really good and aware of the inventory, become really good at the inventory. Do everything, Suzanne, you got somebody here that can teach you exactly how to do all you need to know about building inventory, growing your business because you know the inventory. And you'll be surprised then how the builders get aware of this. The market starts hearing about what you're doing in new homes, and you'd be surprised at referrals you start to get, even from some on-site agents. Once you build those relationships, it happens. Okay. So here, look at this. I don't know. Does this mean anything to you? It means a little something to me. That 31% total inventory bought in May was 30 new homes. Usually it's like 11 to 12%. All right, we got 4 minutes left here. I just want to say this. I want to talk about the sales courses out there for just a second. Some of you have never had any sales training experience. I'm not recommending this. I'm just showing you a price. It's out there. If you want to become a certified salesperson, I don't think that's certified new home sales. I think their programs run out of the Home Builders Association. They have some great courses. They're not cheap, but they're really good courses. I think they're right, $400, $500, and they're very good. Most of them, of course, include construction, which we don't in ours. We don't believe that you need to learn construction. We said that earlier. Just want to remind you again, about the fact you don't sell, right? We talked about this already. You don't have to take the sales training. You just have to build relationships with your own site folks. So that concludes our webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's how you can do it. I'd like for you to go to my site. We've got a little discount going on over there. You can just click the top button up there, and that'll take you right to it if you want to do that. We'd like to hear you. Send your questions to us. We've got some, don't we? One or two in there, I see. What is the question we've got there?
Right now, there's a question that was about finding a new home source professional.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I did add a link to the information about the New Home Co-Broker Academy that's on New Home Source Professional to the site, so people can reach it there. And then if you have issues with the discount, I don't know how David's discount works on the back end, sorry, but if you have questions, you can always reach out and we can make sure.
Yeah, we have a discount going now that requires it's already set up, and we're going to run that for a couple of days for our people who are here.
So I did have somebody say they took the training years ago, but would like to go through the material again. Is it possible to get access?
Well, you have to purchase it because we have the 1-year access we offered originally. And so we made a lot of improvements. I don't know when you took the course, but I appreciate that. But drop me an email, and we'll see what we can do to help you a little bit with that. Our prices and our values have gone up some since you took the course, perhaps.
So, and I'll put David's email in the chat.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that way, if somebody has a specific question for him, they can reach out that way. However, as I mentioned, if you send your question through New Home Source Professional and it's for David, we always forward those questions on to David. So if you lose that email, you will definitely be able to get in touch with David, because we forward all of that on to him. So we love that David is available for these webinars. we feel like it provides a lot of insight for agents that are interested in working new construction. As I mentioned before, if you are interested in our future webinars, please go out to our site, and I'll go ahead and put this link in the chat too, just because that makes it easy. You can view this webinar will be again in September, but we're not sure exactly what date it is. We're going to be creating that schedule this week soon. So if you have anybody that you think would benefit from this webinar, it will be offered again in September. And so you could always share that our webinar link with them, and they'd be able to find that. And then if you took this webinar today, even if you didn't get to show up, if you just registered, you will receive a recording of it tomorrow. And again, you can send questions to us later, and we'll be able to forward anything on to David if needed be.
Yeah, Susan, just one more thing. I'd like to ask for referrals from you guys that maybe have your broker look at the video or to take a look at the site and start offering the link. Just offer the link to the agents. They're looking for ways to train the agents. I mean, they don't know where to start. A lot of your brokers don't. As you know, you don't get the training in your offices, but the new home market is here. They're looking for it, and all it requires a link that they recommend that their agents look into. Appreciate it if you'd have them contact me if they'd like.
That's a great idea. Yeah, and also on that note, we also partner with brokers to provide a co-branded version of New Home Source Professional. You must have 100 agents and be willing to put our New Home Source Professional link on your site as a SSO single sign-on. But
that's a great idea. Great idea.
But yeah, that both of those are great ideas if your broker's out there looking for training. And even if you just want some more information about New Home Source Professional, I have a list of brokers that get our monthly webinar schedule, and I'm welcome to add your name that if you go into again, go to newhomesourceprofessional.com, scroll to the bottom of any page, click contact us, and you'll be able to send your questions for me. Again, even if you send something that's meant for David, I'll get it over to him. And we just want to thank David for again providing all of his insight. We want to thank all of you for joining us, because we know that your time is you're busy and it's valuable. So we appreciate that you took time to join our webinar. So everyone have a great day. Again, thank you, David. And
thank you.
And we'll hopefully we'll see you in different webinars. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.